It's Reusse Unchained, presented by Josh Arnold, investment consultant, Mr. Money Talk. We saw you in the building last night. The Wolves kind of led most of the way, and then Luka Doncic decided, I'm just going to be the best player on the court right now for the entire fourth quarter. And you can drop Rudy back, you can blitz him, like you can do a million different things with Luka Doncic, and he seems to have answers for all of them. Pat.
Yes, and Kyrie, of course, took care of the first half for them too.
Yep.
So it's quite the combination. But I think the what should have everybody rattled is the fact that those two guys inside, who aren't really anything to write home about, they get 62 points in the paint, right? Was it 64-38 or something in the
Yeah.
paint? It's they giving them all those dunks. The Timberwolves were so afraid of the 3-pointer that they let them, got out rebounded. What's Rudy out there running around chasing people around? Get back by the basket where you belong, especially offensively. God, he's out there 8, 9, 10 feet from the basket, and they're throwing him the ball as though he's going to do something with it. No, we don't want you to have the ball 10 feet from the basket because you're going to dribble it off your knee and then your foot and fall down and get a foul. We don't want you with the ball. Okay. I thought it was the most poorly coached game that has been important I've seen this season. They're just not a 49, shoot 49 threes team. They should
Yeah.
be, even though they made 18, they made 12 the first half, but they were 6 for 24 the second half on threes. And when the game was being decided, they come. The game was being decided. They come down and just fire more threes instead of work and get the ball inside and score and get a good tough basket inside against them instead of throw up a bad three. And I thought it was even though they had a chance, it was one of those games. It reminded me of the first, not I mean offensively, obviously there was a lot more offense in the game, but it reminded me of was it the first or second playoff game that they played against Phoenix, and it was 51-50 at the halftime, and they played as horribly as you can possibly play, and
Yeah.
they were only 1 point down. And I was watching that game saying, how are they ahead? Because I never thought they really played well. I mean, McDaniels was, he's 6 for 9 on threes. If you think you're going to go to the NBA Finals by him going 6 for 9 on threes, you're crazy. So
Yeah,
that's
he's not hitting, but it is like on the flip side in a game in which he goes 6 for 9 from threes, and Kyle Anderson gives you 11 points. You
yes,
should probably win that game.
yes, yeah, I
You
agree
don't
with
want
you.
to waste that game from Jaden McDaniels, and they did.
No, yeah, and but Edwards was. I think they. I was just talking to a really good basketball guy, and he says they can't have Edwards chasing Irving around. He doesn't have anything left. He doesn't have anything left in the
He
fourth
was
quarter.
gassed. Did you see him
Yes,
in the fourth quarter? I mean, he was walking up the court just heaving and
yes,
hands on
yeah,
shorts. It was
and this guy says Connolly. He says you can't stop him anyway. Irving, he says he's one of the best guards that's ever played when he plays, which is the only way to beat him really, not to the only way to hold him down is to have him miss 20 games with some phony injury. But when he's playing, he's fantastic, and he's going to get hit. What good did it do having Edwards guarding? What
That's a
good did
great
it do?
point,
It
Pat.
didn't do any good at
So
all.
Kyrie goes for 30 points, 12 of
Yes,
23, 30 points. And a byproduct, to your point, Anthony Edwards is completely out of gas in the second
yes,
half. If Conley, let's say Conley and like a combination of other guys
yes,
guards
whoever,
Kyrie,
yes.
I mean, maybe he goes for 38 instead of 30, but
Yeah, right.
but Anthony Edwards is maybe a freight train in the second half. Yeah, they got to figure
Yeah,
that out. Yeah.
yeah, they do. They're going to be they're going to change a lot of things strategically, and it's certainly not panic time, but it's time for concern. That's for sure because they have the two best players on the floor. That's a problem, right? The two
Yeah,
best players. Yeah, they have the two best.
yeah.
Whenever you're playing a team that they have the two best players, you're in trouble.
What's your observation on Doncic? Because that is one of the most incredible. Like I look at him on the floor, and I sort of see a little bit of myself. in his body. And then I
plus
watch him play basketball, and it's the
he
damnedest thing.
he intercepted a pass, a lob into the post and tipped it away. And the people in Dallas are talking about it like it's an interception that won a Super Bowl because he's so rotten defensively. He doesn't play any defense at all. That's why McDaniels is, he's 7 steps late getting to the corner to guard McDaniels. He's, he does not play defense, but he is a as unusual as Irving is, because this fantastic guy. Doncic's that unusual too, because he's he can get off somehow he can talk about slow mo. He's the real
Yeah,
slow mo.
right.
Forget all slow mo. He's the fat slow mo. But he can, man, can he shoot? And he never took a shot in the fourth quarter that I thought he was going to miss? Did you? No matter
No.
how many guys were around him, or 14-footer in traffic, three, whatever it is. When the game's on the line, he's something, man.
And how many players, when you put Jaden McDaniels on someone and say,
Yes.
hey, sick
Yeah.
him. This is your assignment for the next
Yes.
2.5 hours. How many players just look completely unbothered by Jaden McDaniels?
Yeah, and that was him.
Yeah.
He's something. And when you think of all those games he played without Kyrie, we talked about this before. He had the ball all the time in those games. I mean, he had the ball. I should watch them some early season games. He played 38 minutes. He had the ball for 38 minutes.
Yeah.
It's amazing that you got to give them credit too. They went out and got a couple of centers or a couple of bigger guys, PJ Washington, and then the Gafford, and they're not
Lively might be, in terms like the
lively.
rookie from Duke.
Yeah.
It's like I think Denver was the best team, the team to knock off, but this team with their size bothers the Timberwolves more than Denver in terms of just size and
Yes.
trees in the lane to get through.
Yeah, and the thing about him is, I was thinking about this too. You're trying to beat Jokic, right? But where Jokic is at all times, right? Doncic and Irving and the guys you're trying to stop now, they're moving. Jokic. You know where Jokic is going. He's walking the ball up and he's going to make some passes. But I don't know. It was surprising to me that they were 3 ahead with minute and a half to go, something like that, minute and 50 to go, or something like that.
Yeah, they went on that run. Karl hit that big 3 to put him up, and then they hit another one. And
of course, we were a little rattled in the upstairs press box because we were fighting raindrops. So
Yeah, what the hell happened?
You could watch it coming off the roof.
You know what this is? This is right out of the Vikings Metrodome playbook. That's what this Western Conference Finals. Let's open up the roof a little bit.
And the louder it got, the more raindrops came down, coming out of the roof, and all of a sudden, what they put this sod roof on there, right?
Yeah.
Remember, they made a big thing about this green roof. Well, when you get 2 inches of rain, apparently it gets soggy enough that it starts leaking through the roof. So anyway, it was a little wet upstairs. Then, of course, the worst thing about it, we were in front of some Dallas fans that were in the little suite behind where we were. And there was a woman screaming defense every time. They can't hear you. Shut up. You're 500 feet away from the court. Shut up. Your lonely defense shout doesn't help, except it's in my ear. So anyway,
yeah, there's a Timberwolves fan in section 101 that does the same, but when they're losing, he's just screaming at them to play better and harder.
Not acceptable.
And he's literally for 3 hours starting before the game. Yeah, not acceptable. Not acceptable.
That's awesome.
And people last night, finally someone, Judd and I have been sitting up there the last 2 series, and everyone just kind of looks over like, will this guy shut up? Finally, someone started chirping him, and he's like, come on, you want to fight me? You want to fight me? Dude.
He's at every game, though.
Yeah, I got to admit it. I hate fans. They're just, it's a basketball game. You're 500 feet away. You know, you could turn to the guy next to you and say, gee, I hope they play defense on this. But shouting defense doesn't work. Defense. The other thing is everybody's the let's go blah. Let's go Wolves. Let's go.
Yeah.
Come on, can somebody come up with something different? Everybody's like,
It is kind of
let's
bland.
go wild. Yeah, let's go wild. Come on, someone come up with something.
And let's go wild, by the way. We're turning a one-syllable word into a two-syllable word. Wild. Let's go wild.
Wild.
Let's go twins.
It's either let's go like that or a go like it's go Jets go Leafs go. So you
Go
you
Pack
got your
go.
pick.
Oh, that's
yes.
right. Yeah. Okay.
So you got your
Well,
pick. Let's
Yeah.
go or
I don't know. It was boy, that crowd was ready to roar though. They were ready to have a good time. And then Kyrie is. I was looking up Kyrie's bio. I'd forgotten. He only played 11 games his 1 year at Duke because he got hurt. He played 8 games. Never
Yeah.
played in the ACC, and then he played in the tournament. And he was #1 overall draft pick. But you know how good a draft that was? The #2 overall draft pick was Derek Williams to the
Yep.
Minnesota Timberwolves.
That's right.
And I was looking at it, and there isn't a good player until the shooter, Klay Thompson, was 10th. And then he was 10th. He was the first good player in that draft. So, but Kyrie obviously was a good player. But he played 11 games for Coach K and ended up being the #1 overall draft choice.
Man,
So,
if you were ranking like every Timberwolves bad first-round draft pick on the gap between how good they like just by looking at them, how good you think they will be as a basketball player with how good they actually are, Derek Williams is probably #1 on that list, man.
Was that Kahn's first year? Was that his first year?
No, because Kahn's first year was the 2009. His first draft was the Steph Curry draft, I think.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That was. So this is 11. So that was pretty much the end of him when Derek Williams turned out to be a complete
And then
bust.
who was it was Flynn and Rubio, and then
Yes.
was it Wes Johnson in 2010?
Yes.
4th overall, and then
Fourth
into
overall,
Derek
yeah.
Williams.
Yeah, it wasn't like you were picking way down in the drafts, but
Yeah.
it was anyway, that was a terrible draft. But Kyrie went. I'd forgotten he'd only played 11 games that year. Man, he's good when he wants to play. And I was talking to somebody from there, and he's apparently turned into this like kumbaya guy down in Dallas. They all love him. And
They do. Yeah, he's grinding. He's like the leader of he's probably the leader of the team. I mean, Luka Doncic is the best player, but yeah, Kyrie's
and he also a few years ago did change his mind on the Earth being flat too. So he came out on that one. So anyway,
he did change his mind on that.
He changed his mind. He did publicly change.
he
his
accepted
mind.
this round now.
Now he has some anti-Semitism in his past there that was rather blatant, but he's that Uncle Drew ad campaign didn't do him any harm either, did it? Man,
No,
in the
no.
movie and the ad.
But you know what, Pat? And I've seen this crap about Butker too. We gotta stop asking athletes questions about
Yes.
things beyond sports, unless you're doing a profile piece.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm so tired of being worried about what the Chiefs kicker thinks. If he can make a field goal, he can make a field goal. Don't ask.
I thought the same thing. The Chiefs field goal kicker is a trumper. Okay, that's fine. I don't. Do I?
You do. You do
cares?
you.
Here's on Judd's front.
What kind of a mediocre, nothing college do you have to have Butker give your commencement address? I mean, you got to be some little school with about 12 students, So.
Here's where I'm at. I think like people being surprised that other people have strong opinions that differ from yours is where we need to stop.
Yes,
there's 330 million people in this country. There's going to be a lot of differing opinions on things. Let's stop being shocked that, oh my gosh, somebody that comes from this side of the country or this background, It's all
You
over every
solve the
show.
problem, but you solve the problem by not discussing politics and other such issues and religion. You
Yeah,
don't discuss that either. Stay
and
away
with
from
players,
religion.
that's easy. That's the thing about it. Let's just
Yes.
talk about what you do.
Wait,
How'd you make that shot? How do you get to the
did
basket, Kyrie?
did you guys see Mike McDaniels, the Dolphins coach? So he's doing his OTA press conference, and he's up there, and someone, so he's just taking questions, and one of the
Yeah.
reporters in the crowd says, Mike, the Harrison Butker comments, and like. And Mike slumps down, grabs the microphone, and he's like, "Oh God, here we go." And the guy like asks a question about, do you want your players to speak out on issues that they feel passionate about, or do you ever talk to them about this type of stuff? And he goes, "I'm really glad you asked." Like,
And then he said,
thank you
no.
for asking that question to me right now in this
And
public
then,
setting. Yes,
and then didn't answer it.
I didn't even see the answer. The clip cut off with him
I
just
think, you
like
know what? You look at him and he looks like a weenie. But whenever he looks like the least football coachy guy of all time.
he does.
But I think he's pretty sharp, and he's like in those press conference settings like that. He's pretty good because he's gonna blow you off in a classy manner. So
Yeah, he's
anyway.
definitely the
Like
funniest
O'Connell.
coach in the NFL. I feel
Yes,
like.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Anyway, Friday night, man, we maybe we could go up 2-0 and then lose 3 in a row, but you don't want to go down 2-0 to these guys.
Yeah.
They're serious.
Well, you've coined it in your career that whenever you're starving for sports content as a writer or a radio host or podcast host, God will provide. The sports gods will provide.
Yeah.
And I don't know what we did to deserve basketball in late May for the first time in 20 years, but it is fun going to these games and doing this.
Judd loves that hockey, and I don't blame him. Loves that hockey, as Sid would say, that hockey.
That hockey, yeah.
But this is because of the number of moments that seem crucial, whether you're going to get a basket or not. This is great stuff, and the games last 2.5 hours minimum, 240. And then timeouts, and now we're looking at a review. And we didn't have many reviews last night.
They were quick too.
What'd you think of the cat call?
I've seen a couple other angles now where it was a bad call. Like there's a couple angles where
how does the ball, if it's on the rim, if it's out of the cylinder, does it? How much of it has
apparently
to be
the
out of
cylinder goes.
cylinder?
Yeah, it's like it's like in baseball, right? The cylinder goes all the way up to the rafters.
Yes,
and so the ball has to be outside of that cylinder.
But it seems to me they always err on the side of not calling it. They rarely call it. And I was surprised on and they only gave him a 8-second replay or something like that. They ran over there and peeked and called it right away.
And then there was the Mike Conley subtle but effective push for the offensive foul too.
Yes, yeah. Well, do you get the impression that they're so, the officials are so upset about having to run over there and look at every damn thing on these challenges that they're now becoming comedians, subtle but effective.
And the fans are chanting, "Ref, you suck," while they're Mark Davis. The subtle but effective was a complete troll of the entire crowd.
Also, what a heel turn by Mark Davis helped the Timberwolves to two of the greatest blowout victories in playoff history. And now he hit us with a steel chair last night.
That's right. Oh, that was huge, man. Taking that basket away was huge. But you can't. Okay, everybody, I got a big argument with the shooting. They were making every three, so they should have kept shooting them. This is not a 49-3 team. You're not supposed to shoot 49 threes.
Preach.
And in the second half, they were 6 for 24. And they were settling for threes instead of grinding out a basket that they really needed. And that's just, thank God McDaniels was out of his mind in the first half that making threes. But
to your point, you don't think so? They were like third in make percentage on 3-pointers this year, on 32 attempts per game that were largely wide open, corner, efficient threes. Mike Conley wide open. just because you're the third best shooting 3-point team doesn't mean you should double the amount of 3-pointers. Your efficiency is gonna go down. You nailed it, Pat.
Yes. Yeah. I just didn't. This is it's a tough physical team, and they weren't tough and physical last night. They weren't tough and physical. They were,
Yeah.
they did not play like they played against Denver. And and you and I have, we've all developed now the idea that, we're not going to have Ant guard Irving, and because you can't stop him anyway. So
Yeah, maybe like small doses. Like if
yeah,
you need
oh
to
yeah, yeah,
put him
yeah.
on for a couple minutes in the
This
third or
is
whatever.
really, what else they got to do? They got to start finishing quarters and halves, and yeah, I mean they end up turning,
End of the first half was a
end
gong
of the
show.
first
Yeah,
half
it was
like
disaster.
what are you doing, Ant? Throwing the ball away for no damn reason.
Yep.
Run more clock. Don't do anything stupid, and all of a sudden they're leaving their 5 now instead of 1 up or something. They're into their halves, and Finch talked about that too. So Finchy came in and sugarcoated it right off the bat, though, right? He said, first 5 words he said, he basically ripped the hell out of him. I like that. So
Yeah, old Finch is great, man. I feel like he's
yeah, he
been a
is.
highlight of these playoffs. Just
I don't
crutching up
think
to the podium.
I don't think they were well coached last night, but I think he is a real asset to this team in all ways. And Nori is supposed to be a really sharp guy, and I think they're, generally speaking, you don't say they got out coached, but maybe so last night. I thought they did.
Yeah, that's fair. So, all right. Well, we'll talk again tomorrow here, Pat. We've got it's
All right.
great. We're on an every other day schedule here for these games. So we're no more of these 2-3 days between Western Conference Finals games.
Okay.
Buckle up.
And the Twins on a 2-game winning streak now as the defending world champions come to town. Did I see Louis Arise is hitting 391? By the way, did I see
Probably.
that? Is that
Sounds
since he
about
got
right.
to San?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
started off the first week of the season. He was hitting 0.
Yeah.
So
229. He's hitting 220,
Oh,
299,
so
299, 299.
must be hitting 391
Wait.
since he got to San Diego.
Oh,
Padres,
yeah, 391 with
the
San
Padres.
Diego.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which,
That makes
when they
sense.
put that in the box score, they're wrong. They shouldn't have that. It should be what your season average is, not what your average is with the Padres. I want
Yeah,
to know
who
what
ca-
you're hitting for the season. Come on,
Yeah.
shape up,
If you
AP.
switch leagues, maybe we can start
Yeah,
it
maybe,
over.
yeah.
But
That's what they used to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. See you,
All right.
Judge.
Bye,
All right, there he is. Reusse Unchained, presented by Josh Arnold.